What if I told you that one of the world's largest gaming markets today almost didn't happen? 24 years ago, the gaming landscape in China was a wasteland, not because people didn't want to play games, but because they couldn't. With rampant piracy, restricted imports, and gaming being seen as a frivolous luxury, the odds were stacked against it. Yet, against all of those odds, the entirely new model of gaming rose from the struggle. And it all started with one crucial insight: the power of affordability and accessibility. Back in the late 1990s, gaming in China was anything but easy. Piracy was rampant, consoles were prohibitively expensive, and the government's growing restrictions on foreign games and hardware seemed to close the door on the industry's future. Then in 2000, a pivotal moment arrived. The Chinese government imposed an outright ban on gaming consoles, citing concerns over their impact on children. This left developers and publishers scrambling for survival in a country where traditional gaming infrastructure simply didn't exist. But where others saw a roadblock, Chinese companies saw opportunity. If they couldn't bring the consoles to the people, they would bring the games to the people on terms that fit China's unique landscape. The strategy? Tap into the world's largest population by focusing on three pillars: localization, affordability, and accessibility. Localization was critical to survival in this new gaming landscape. The Chinese government's strict censorship laws meant that no foreign media, including games, could enter the market without heavy scrutiny. Violence, nudity, or even the slightest hint of political dissent could see a title banned outright. In addition to translating the language, the media as a whole would require to contribute to the positive image of China. To navigate these hurdles, foreign developers partnered with Chinese publishers to tailor their games for the local market. The collaboration wasn't just a necessity, it became a learning opportunity. Chinese companies gained insight into foreign development techniques and practices, while foreign studios gained a foothold in the market. Together, they set the foundation for what would become a uniquely Chinese approach to gaming. Imagine walking into a dimly lit internet cafe in the early 2000s, rows of boxy monitors glowing faintly, with the midst of gamers immersed in a world of magic, monsters, and quests. The game? Legend of Mir 2. The company behind the scene? Shanda. This wasn't just another gaming craze, it was the spark that ignited a massive cultural shift in Chinese gaming. Shanda Interactive Entertainment Limited was founded in 1999, just a year before the ban was put in place, and using the last $300,000 of its $3 million capital, purchased the license of a popular Korean MMORPG known as The Legend of Mir 2. Before acquiring the game, they were building an online social community to better understand the market, and it paid off. They began to work on converting the game to match Chinese consumer tastes and provide accurate translations, and also modified the contents to appease the regulatory bodies. Publishing the game in September, Shanda Interactive used internet cafes as a way to approach new players. They also developed an electronic sales system to streamline their transactions. Before the system, they had hired Ubisoft services to distribute physical game cards for purchasing in-game time. This choice, instead of a normal subscription system, was way cheaper and lowered the cost for many players. However, demand shot up quickly and there were outages of stock, decreasing player time. With the new electronic sales system, the barrier of entry was lowered significantly. It allowed even more players to experience gaming for the first time. The game's nature as a multiplayer online title worked to its advantage, fostering a sense of social community and loyalty, which in turn helped to retain the player base. Thus, Shanda Interactive had made their game more affordable and accessible in one stroke. The game began to turn over a profit after just 2 months of release, which reinforced the idea of using internet cafes instead of home internet access. Interactive had earned 42 million in revenue and 17 million in profits. They didn't sit still, however, and began developing their own version of the game after disputes began occurring with the original company, NC Soft. By 2003, the company had released their own game to a huge success as well. Shandu had focused on the biggest problems facing the Chinese gaming industry and had come out on top. But they weren't the only ones in the game. By late 2002, another company struggling to recover from the market crash released Westward Journey Online 2. Ding Lei, NetEase's founder, didn't make this decision lightly. At the time, the company was on thin ice with the US Securities Exchange Commission over allegations of accounting malpractice, and Lee was worried about relying on advertisers to fund his company's growth. What set NetEase apart from other mail service providers at the time was its free email services and customizable personal websites for its users. So when it was time to launch their game, they had a head start compared to their competitors. To truly understand its impact, imagine if a search engine company like Google or Yahoo had decided to make a multiplayer online game at the top of their best years. The sheer free advertisement itself would give them a head start in attracting many users. Seeing an internet company like NetEase aggressively push into the gaming market and succeed inspired other internet companies to do the same. Tencent was one of these companies. Initially starting out as an internet messaging app called QQ, Tencent took advantage over its vast network of users into its own game it published in 2002. From there, Tencent aggressively pushed forth, entering into other internet services and expanded their reach in the gaming industry, much like NetEase sought to do. The seeds planted by Shanda, NetEase, and Tencent in the early 2000s didn't just grow a gaming industry, they cultivated an entirely new ecosystem. These companies redefined how games were marketed, distributed, and monetized, creating a blueprint for future success in China and beyond. Shanda's electronic sales system and Tencent's integration of QQ into gaming platforms revolutionized access to games, but they also set the stage for larger collaborations and innovations. For instance, Perfect World's partnership with Valve to bring Steam to China in 2018 introduced a legal, regulated way for millions of Chinese gamers to access international titles. This collaboration bridged the gap between domestic and global gaming ecosystems, ensuring developers like MiHoYo could reach international audiences while maintaining a strong domestic foothold. Localization was a survival strategy for early Chinese gaming giants, but has since evolved into a cornerstone of global success. Shanda's ability to adapt Legend of Mer 2 for Chinese players and NetEase's cultural storytelling in Westward Journey Online 2 taught future developers the value of culturally resonant games. Modern developers like MiHoYo build on this, blending Chinese themes with global aesthetics in games like Genshin Impact. Their early success was partly fueled by Shanda itself. MiHoYo once won a Shanda-sponsored gaming competition, earning a cash prize that supported their growth. This connection reflects how industry veterans indirectly shaped the next generation of developers. The legacy of these early companies isn't just in the models they pioneered, but also in the talent they nurtured. Game Science, the studio behind the highly anticipated and released Black Myth Wukong, was founded by ex-Tencent employees who took lessons from their time at one of China's largest gaming companies to focus on premium single-player experiences. This shift from Tencent's multiplayer-focused roots to cinematic, narrative-driven games showcases the industry's maturation. From the social multiplayer experience of Legend of Mer 2 to QQ's integration into Tencent's early games, these companies laid the groundwork for community-driven gaming. Today, MiHoYo's Genshin Impact and Perfect World's MMORPGs continue to leverage these ideas, fostering loyalty through live service updates and fan engagement. The work of Shanda, NetEase, and Tencent didn't just build an industry, it created a cultural shift. By solving the challenges of affordability, accessibility, and community building, that turned gaming into a mainstream phenomenon in China. The infrastructure and insights they established allowed collaborations like Perfect World's partnership with Steam to flourish and supported the rise of studios like GameScience. Companies like MiHoYo, GameScience, and Kuro Games stand on the shoulders of these giants, taking foundational ideas and pushing them further. The result? A gaming market that isn't just thriving, but is influencing the global industry at every level.